The Gold Service. A new sci-fi action adventure. Book 4 of the Capital Adventures. Written and narrated by Alan Ivers. This is the first book of the Gold Service trilogy. While it is the fourth book in the overall series, you do not need to read books 1 through 3 in order to enjoy this adventure. If you enjoy these characters or this universe and would like to have more, the Blood Service trilogy is currently available. This book contains the following content matter: graphic violence and traumatic injuries, occasional foul language, frequent alcohol and drug use, and sexual activity is acknowledged, though off-screen. We're here to have a good time with characters we love. If any of this material distresses you, it's okay to grab another book instead. I hope you enjoy. Part 1. Iconography. And they came with a commandment for the people. For life was not to be had for fruitless exchange, but in the pursuit of higher calls. Aspire not for the self, but for the whole, the clean and the dirty, the sinner and the saint, the neighbor and the stranger. For your service is to the people, for they are the kings. Gnostic Librum, Colonial, Chapter 4, verse 13 through 18. Chapter 1. Tom. Tom held the fruit in his hand, firm to the touch, soft skin, an alluring, brilliant red. This was a real tomato fruit, not one from an industrial replicator or a laboratory squint's alternative. This was authentic produce plucked from an actual vine, spiraling off a legitimate plant that labored in bona fide, grade A colonial soil. Roach had described it as ambrosia. You can easily forget the complexity that can come with a bite of even the blandest, real food. It was the difference between a convincing con and the genuine article. When was the last time he'd had real fruit? Was it back at the pan and pantry? The chef used to slip him scraps from the block, but those were all chems and lab stuff, had that plastic aftertaste. The tomato seemed to stare back at him, taunt him. He wouldn't dare. This fruit was meant for the harbor master, for shipment to local markets. He wouldn't take what wasn't his. Would he? He bit into the forbidden fruit, chomping down like a starving man. Ambrosia? It stung his tongue, his gums and lips. Acid, salt, and sickening sweet in equal measure. The fruit had no substance, going from gooey mess to stringy floss from moment to moment. People wanted this? This wasn't fruit. It was what a scientist made when a child described fruit to him through a translator program. He let the bite fall out into his hands and wiped them off on the side of the table. He'd clean it later, but right then he just had to get it off of him. The ship creaked and moaned around him, bulkheads flexing with the temperature. It was a rickety old bulk brig, but the Aurum was a genuine beauty. Tom had seen plenty of cruisers and brigs come in and out of port, knobbly old titans built for deep space, skeletal beanstalks that hauled enormous modules along their length, small cities bolted onto platters with engines rigged to one end, and nimble little darts that appealed to the eye. The Aurum wasn't sexy, nor giant or modular. It was more than she seemed. She had more storage than a ship twice her class, because the very walls were made to store everything from personal effects to bulk cargo. Every inch of her was made to be of use in some manner. And while the KC-28 Perseus model had been stamped out for over 20 years like they were minting coins, they hadn't made a new one.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?